Back on the Charles here on the Ivy League Digital Network with Xander Benoris, Bill Spaulding. Glad to be with you to the third varsity race between Harvard and Georgetown. And for this race, Xander, we have a special edition. The Boston University heavyweight boat will join. It's a hybrid 3-4-5 heavyweight boat for BU as they'll race here and just get some work this week on what was otherwise an off week for this group. And they'll go against Harvard and Georgetown after the Crimson took 1-2 in a combined 4th and 5th varsity race just underway. We'll run you through the lineups. And first we'll go with the 5th-ranked Crimson, their third varsity boat. Had a lot of changes. You'll talk about that a bit as things go on from Friday to today. But Benjamin Moline is the coxswain. And then a guy who you rode with a couple years ago coming back from injury, Matt Podlesak, in that stroke seat. He was in seat 2 on Friday. Now he's up to the stroke spot. Freshman Eric Dobrushkin in seat number 7, sophomore Liam Daly in seat 6. Then it's freshman Christopher Jarrett in seat 5, sophomore Niels Lauerberg in seat 4, freshman Nick Kochenik in seat number 3. Another moving piece from seat number 6 to seat number 2, freshman Isaac Walker. And then the bow seat is senior Mitch Cole for the Crimson. And for Georgetown, we'll look at the Hoya lineup. Their third varsity, which again raced yesterday, beat MIT, lost to Yale. Coxswain Alexandra Johnson, sophomore Brendan Fish is the stroke. In seat 7, Jefferson Shue. In seat 6, freshman Kiefer Muller. Junior Daniel Kratak in seat 5, sophomore Chris Graff in seat 4. Seat 3 is Thomas Stubna, another sophomore. Jake Lockwood is in seat 2, and the bow is sophomore Matthew Jasko. BU a late entry just into the fold as well. They will be down in lane number 3. Harvard sits in lane number 5 with Georgetown in lane 4 for this one. So the Crimson will be at the bottom of your picture. And again, I mentioned it, some big changes for this Harvard boat from Friday to Sunday as the coaching staff tries to tinker and see what the right combinations are here.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think assistant coach Ian Akamondo here has taken an opportunity with this second race of the weekend to tinker, to try some things out. This is the time in the season to do it. The 3V coming off of a loss versus Cornell, and they're looking to improve on that. Obviously, it's a great move by Ian putting Matt Podlesak up in stroke seat. I mean, this is a guy you mentioned before. I rode with him when I was an undergraduate, and he's all passion, he's all heart. He's wearing that high-vis visor for us to see, so we're going to have no problem seeing him out there. I saw him earlier actually looking across at the Hoyas and at BU, and he's just a hungry guy in general. He wants to beat some heavyweights out there, so he's relishing this opportunity, and he's going to be great to lead the charge here.
Crimson also in a new boat that will be dedicated after the race today, named after a class of 50 oarsmen.
Yeah, Forrest Hall Selvig. Yeah, so they're gonna do the christening after this race. Pretty cool to see a Flippy 8 out there. You don't see that every day.
Obviously, want to break it in with a win, right?
Yeah. So we'll see what they can do here. We got Mitch Cole, you mentioned earlier, senior leadership in the bow. Gonna hopefully bring the boys to a win here.
Just the one senior in the boat, Podlesak, a junior. 3 sophomores and 3 freshmen in this group for the Crimson. Another younger team. That's something that's noticeable up and down the lightweight roster this year. A lot of youth, a youth infusion on this Harvard team.
Yes, a lot of youthful vigor.
Harvard looking to bounce back from Friday. Again, they beat Penn, lost to Cornell, and another close race. Almost every single one of those races up at Cayuga Lake in Ithaca was decided by a 4 to 10 second margin. So there were not many blowouts like we just saw in the 4th varsity race before us. Bringing these boats into alignment.
Yeah,
still a strong headwind.
They're dealing with some wind here. You can see the boats sculling to the side here. So we'll see what the Crimson crew here does off the line. I know Coach Akamondo's been working on that start with them. We'll see what Podlesak can do off the line for this crew.
A wind like this makes a coxswain's job a little bit more difficult as well, as they have to try to keep the ship going straight here.
Yeah, you're right, and they don't have any buoys on the Charles here, so it is a challenging job.
All right, we're about set to go. And away we go, third varsity race off and running. Harvard at the bottom of your picture, Georgetown in the middle. Boston University, a heavyweight boat up top. So again, this is where as a lightweight group you have a chance to show your pride against a bunch of heavies.
Yeah, and this Crimson crew is hungry. They're up at 45, 46 here. Polisak's keeping them high.
Wearing that neon visor in that stroke seat. As Harvard and Georgetown and BU are all off very even. There is little separation, if any, here at the start. Everybody within about a seat of each other.
Yeah, so this is the kind of start you hope for. There's not much between them.
At this time in our fourth varsity race, the Harvard 4V vote already almost had a whole length of separation, but we're neck and neck. BU maybe with a couple inches of a lead at most. Everybody bunched as we approach about 250 meters.
So the Hoyas here at about 38. Crimson is about 37.
And Georgetown is snuck ahead by about a seat on Harvard, with BU 2 seats up on Georgetown on the outside.
Yeah, so now's when they're going to settle into their race here. We're going to see how this shapes up. The heavyweight crew got off to a bit of a start here, but we're going to look for some lightweight efficiency and we'll see what happens.
Right now, about a 3-seat lead for that BU heavyweight crew. Harvard and Georgetown about as close as could be, neck and neck in the lightweight. BU just joined this race basically as an exhibition, so the real race between the team in the white and the team in that navy blue. You have the Crimson boat at the bottom and the Hoya boat in the middle.
Yeah, it's just about a canvas between them here. Crimson are going to be looking to come into them.
Wind really whipping as we cross MIT's campus here on the Charles. Looks like Harvard gaining a bit of ground on the inside.
Yeah, so sophomore Liam Daly here in the 6th seat. He was previously in the stroke seat. And they're looking to maintain his length and take some Polisak aggression up there.
Ferocious strokes.
And it looks like they're making moves here.
Yeah, they have inched just in front, but this is neck and neck. About a third of the way through on the third varsity.
It appears like they're taking a move here. I just saw Matt Podlesak look over. He's a man possessed out here. He's looking for this win.
How inspirational can it be if you're sitting further back in the boat and you look up to your stroke and you just see a guy who's gutting it out like that?
Yeah, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
Podlesak won a silver medal with you a couple of years back at the national championships. And he's stroking hard in that stroke seat up from the 2 seat on Friday. This newly reconfigured Harvard 3V boat has jumped out in front of Georgetown. BU's heavyweight boat putting together a good start as they close in on the midway point.
Yeah. So the Crimson's doing a patient job here. They're doing a great job of biding their time, taking efficient strokes, and it looks like it's panning out here for them. Coming up on the 1,000 meter mark.
From a couple seats behind to now about 3.5 or 4 seats in front, and every stroke is gaining ground for Harvard.
Yep. I just saw Niels Loberg look over there, and he wants it.
At the midway point, it's a 5-seat lead for the Crimson. It didn't get off to the fastest start, but they have come on strong in these middle 1,000 meters.
Yeah, so let's see what they can do here. Hopefully they can hunt down BU.
Yeah, that Terrier gap was big early. It hasn't really grown since.
No, it hasn't. We'll see what Harvard does here.
Full 8-seat lead for the Crimson as they look to gain open water on Georgetown. Hammering out a solid rhythm here through the first 2/3 of this race.
Yeah, Ben Moline here is just driving them on. You know he's asking for more from Matt Podlesak, and Podlesak's the man to deliver.
Clean, long strokes right now for the Crimson as they inch out in front of Georgetown. Up top, those Terriers continue their steady work as well as they have held that margin on the Crimson. Again, it's a BU heavyweight boat. The only race today BU will participate in the 2V and the 1V, it'll be just a head-to-head between Harvard and Georgetown.
And Harvard's looking for just a little bit of open water here over the Hoyas.
Just a slight crack in between the back of the Crimson boat and the start at Georgetown's as Harvard's come from 3 seats down to take the lead and now try to gain open water as we look for a finishing push in these final 500 meters.
Yeah, but that stern is running now and they're really finding their rhythm.
Trying to christen this brand new boat with a head-to-head win against Georgetown, and Harvard is into its final quarter. 500 meters to go with the Terriers heavyweight boat still holding first. Who are you really locked in on right now when you look at that Harvard boat?
Well, I like to see what the stern's doing here, and these are long, strong strokes. See sophomore Liam Daly just keeping it on the whole time.
That lead for Harvard over Georgetown has gotten bigger and bigger, and it is really interesting because you see every single stroke they're gaining ground. You can see the margin build.
Yeah, this is the efficiency we were talking about in the beginning. The Hoyas shot off to an early lead, but the Crimson took their time, and now they're just moving through them.
BU with about 200 meters to go. Again, that lead they got early never really grew. It stayed to about that margin from about 500 meters on. Harvard has made up tons of ground on Georgetown. The Crimson look to be well on their way to taking the Hoyas in this third varsity race.
Yeah, this is a clean rowing 3V here. This is slippery.
Well, right now, looks like the new boat lineup works some wonders for Harvard at 3V. We'll see another tinkered lineup at 2V coming up next. Here come the Terriers getting some work on the weekend, jumping into this race, and they come out with a win as the heavyweight crew heads home in first place over the 2000 here on the Charles.
Yeah, it's always good to see a lightweight heavyweight matchup, and this time the heavyweights prevail.
Harvard brings it home in second, and in the head-to-head with Georgetown, Crimson have taken the Hoyas in both the 4V and the 3V. A few more strokes for Georgetown. This was a closer race than what we saw at the 4V level. Hoyas started well, but Harvard finished better.
Yeah, good push indeed, good push. Yeah, the Hoyas asked something of the Crimson out here, and the Harvard crew certainly answered.
You saw it a couple different times. Guys in the boat looked over to their left, they saw where Georgetown was, and then they kicked it into that second gear. So Harvard beats Georgetown in the 3V. That BU boat that jumped in ends up taking the race. We'll be back with the JV second varsity race coming up next on the Ivy League Digital Network.